About your own start to this season, what you've been able to do?
Obviously, we won better numbers or whatever, but I've been playing some good baseball, playing defense, offense, hitting the ball hard in every part of the field. Looks like the baseball gods are really mad at me right now. It's all right, I'll take it. We got 5 more months of baseball, and I'm ready for it. I'm really prepared, and I have all the confidence in the world that it's going to turn around.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Marty Time TV and the Section 1904 podcast. I am Marty Caswell. That is Darren Smith. I may or may not be frozen. Darren told me that I'm frozen, but I see myself. So it doesn't matter where we are. Mighty 1090, the last radio station, or here, I'm always going to have Wi-Fi issues. Can someone confirm or deny whether or not I'm frozen? Am I here?
Yeah, I'm going to leave that up to everybody else because not that this is going to work great on the podcast form of this conversation, but I've been staring at a still shot of you for a while. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just our connection, but either way, this is the benefit of going live, I suppose, here on Marty Time TV. So I will wait for everybody else to chime in on this, Marty. I've posted it on X and Discord. So we can get a little bit of feedback, maybe a little bit of interaction. So we'll see what happens here.
Let's go. Let's do this. Okay, very good. Usually the interaction is going to be about our apparel or what we're eating. Wow, someone says, I'm frozen. I'm frozen? Really?
Yep.
Okay, how about I remove myself and I come back? So Darren, you need to go ahead and, you keep talking. I'm going to remove myself. Ready? You good? Go ahead and talk about you can do Padres, SDFC, Rory, you're a big Rory guy. You always have been. The Masters, a lot to get to. I'm going to remove myself, come back, and see what you're talking about. Okay?
Great. All right. Good. I'm glad. See, and this is now. Let me say this, and I would say this whether she was here or not. So we recorded Friar Territory today, and then it took us a little while to get that uploaded. Friar Territory is available on YouTube. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. And we said, all right, let's circle back. Do something live on Marty Time TV, Section 1904 podcast at 1 p.m. And it left me with 0 time. So scrambling. Had to choke down a little bit of lunch. Had some canned chicken, in case anybody's curious about that. Had a little canned chicken with some mayo.
Chicken?
Yeah, mayo, mustard, salt, pepper. Had them on some Hawaiian rolls. Delicious. And then made myself a cup of coffee. It's like, I would love to brush my teeth before we start this. And Marty said, absolutely not. We have to start at 1.
Right.
And now who's the unprepared person? Marty. So this is what you get. You wouldn't let me brush my teeth. So now I have to sit here with this coffee breath, with this canned chicken breath.
See broccoli.
Yeah. And now, I have to sit here for however long staring at a screen that, you're not appearing in. So.
Okay. Am I frozen? Am I still frozen? Am I good now?
No, like you don't even have a camera now. It's just a black screen.
What is happening? Are you kidding?
It's going great, Marty. God,
I hate myself.
I swear, like this is, I mean, what are you doing to us? This is Leitner and Lazovic.
Come on. I don't know what's happening. That's
what's happening here. Like it's like 2 old people who can't figure out technology. Instead of Ted Leitner and Jim Lazovic, now it's us.
I'm telling you right now, I can see myself. I don't understand what's happening. So I apologize to all you guys. I'm very, very sorry. Let me go into settings. All right, Darren. While I'm going to fix this, let's go ahead and jump into the Padres weekend. Do you want to? Where do you want to start? What to you right now? Okay. What's the buzz story for the weekend? I'm here.
Now we got you.
All right. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, like this is what we get for all making fun of Ted Leitner and Laz.
Okay. So I'll tell you this, Darren. I'll tell you that. So I texted you in the game on Friday. That's the Xander Bogaerts Grand Slam game, right? And I said to you, listen, Darren, we should talk to so-and-so. We should talk to so-and-so next week because we can talk about so-and-so. You said, well, why? Well, I want to talk about Luis Campusano because I thought that he was going to be the story. A lot happened this weekend. A lot. Tatis at second base, the Pivetta thing. I know today's Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday. We'll get a lot more clarity on Nick Pivetta tomorrow. But right now, did anything happen this weekend that changed your mind about what you think in the Padres from our last show? Our last show was what, Friday? Bob Scanlon. And we were literally talking about Luis Campusano with Bob Scanlon. as to what's been different with him. And Bob mentioned that, he's watched video games and the way he prepared and the way he deals with his teammates, with pitchers. He's more engaged. Not with us, he's not. But with his teammates, he is, and that's what's most important. So he has a 5-game hitting streak. Then Tatis plays second base. I want to start with Tatis because that, to me, is... We'll get to Pivetta. We'll get some more news tomorrow. We'll get there later in the show. But I think that Fernando Tatis Jr. was the story of this weekend. I really do.
Okay.
And you saw what happened in the Open.
And I just want to be clear here. Mm-hmm. You're ready to just move forward here. Now frozen on the screen.
I'm frozen again?
It is not the most flattering look for you. Okay. Now you're moving around a little bit.
Okay. I'm Darren, keep talking.
Okay. Fernando Tatis Jr., Nick Pivetta, unfortunately, because it's the Padres, you can't have nice things. So even when you win 5 in a row and you sweep the Colorado Rockies, of course, there's always got to be one dark cloud that just hovers over on the sunny day, even the sunniest of days in 2026. So I know Marty wants to talk about Tatis because she has seen many different shows using her Fernando Tatis Jr. post-game Clubhouse sound around different shows around town. So I know she does want to get to that playing second base. Some of the reasons behind it and some of the theories behind it. Is it just something that is temporary, or is it something that we're going to see a little bit more of? Yeah. I did realize after we recorded Fire Territory today that even Fernando I think he used the word that it's, I think he said more focused, maybe a little bit more focused. You're a little bit more engaged in the game than you are when you're playing outfield. So that is not a theory. I did see that after the fact. So I guess, when you have 5 of your 15 hits in 2 games playing a position that's different than the position that you played every other game this season, it would be fair, especially on an off day, Marty, for us to speculate a little bit about, as we discussed, like correlation, causation. What's the deal? So, you're around it. Again, I know many people have been using your Fernando Tatis Jr. and your Nick Castellanos forth, which is just driving Marty crazy, to have her content just taken and spread everywhere.
Makes me a little bit crazy.
It is what it is. So, you tell us, you think the Tatis thing is a really big deal? Where do you think he's going to play for the first game of the Vetter Cup on Tuesday night?
Okay, that to me, that's the key. Because I know it's one thing to say, listen, we're going to go ahead and give Xander Bogaerts a day off. We're giving Jake Cronenworth a day off. Who else needs a day off? Because their day off was today. Everyone got a day off today. So we're good. So I would imagine if Tatis is back again at second base, then I'm going to say this is going to become more of a regular thing, not just a break thing. Am I back or am I frozen? I'm sorry, guys. This is terrible. This is my fault. What? You're muted, Darren.
Frozen. A little frozen. But again, this is why you make it available via podcast. Yes. Tatis did say the following. It's probably a little bit, I don't want to say I'm more focused. It's just more quick action in there. You've got double plays. You got people on first, people on second. You just get more involved. And I do wonder now, when we've spent so much time and so much oxygen talking about where Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to bat, that maybe they just want to keep him guessing. Hey, maybe you're going to be the leadoff hitter. Maybe you're going to be batting second. Maybe you're going to be playing second. Maybe you're going to be playing right. Like, maybe this is just these are tools of engagement to keep an incredibly talented player from ever feeling like he's settling one direction or the other, like in a good way, bad way, or what have you. Don't know. Maybe it's just as simple as, hey, we want to give a couple of guys some days off, and he seems to be the obvious choice to move in. So, again, it's interesting, I suppose. It does feel like it's a little, it's a little high maintenance. But,
a little bit.
If this is the way to get the best version of this guy, then, I guess you got to do what you got to do.
I think it's interesting. They'll try anything. I find it fascinating that Craig Stammen says that he pitched the idea to Tatis in the offseason, and lo and behold. See, all this time, Darren, where I was out there like other media members recording footage of Tatis at second base, I thought nothing of it because I also have footage of Dylan Cease last season, Darren, taking grounders at third base. So perhaps I won't shrug it off if I see another player in the different position taking grounders. But hey, we'll see. The most interesting thing for me is that, listen, I know we had the back-to-back games, some success. The Padres have gotten some of their slug back. They're scoring more offense. I know it's the Rockies, but the Rockies did just sweep the Astros at Coors Field, whatever it's called now. But The Padres seem like a much better offensive team, and they really haven't gotten Tatis going. He doesn't have a home run yet. It's April 13th, 0 home runs, trailing Ty France and Campusano in that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to make out of that because you said they swept the Astros, as if I'm supposed to be impressed by that because the Astros though are 6-10 and they've given up 101 runs and they've lost 7 straight. So I don't really know what to make of any of this. Even where we started the season, I remember when the Tigers left town, and maybe it's just because I'm an AJ Hinch honk. I was like, well, what do you expect? You're playing the Tigers.
Right.
Well, Tigers are 7-9. Tigers went and got swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks. So I think it's way too early to start putting any stock into any of that shit, right? Like, who even knows who these teams are at this point? Who knows who any of these teams are? Nobody seems to know anything. And we even have a team here in the Padres, Marty, that we're just seeing so much tinkering. We're seeing so much, and like every day it's like different lineup, and every day it's like, well, maybe this guy's going to be playing over there, and we're figuring this out. And reporter after reporter, AJ Caswell went on with Darnay Tripp last night. It's like, and I saw one of the clips, and I thought what AJ said was interesting. It's like, yes, they would, and even what AJ told us, it's like they would like to settle into a lineup. They don't really want to be keeping everybody guessing all season long, but maybe they will. Maybe if it gets results, maybe that's exactly what they're going to do. So, maybe there's something to be said for being this variant on so many different days in a row. It's not normal. It makes people uncomfortable because this isn't normal in baseball,
right?
Just to have guys doing different things every single day. But maybe there is a little bit of a method to the madness. I'm not sure, but I also don't know what to make of any of this on April 13th because it just seems like I don't know who any of the good teams are. I don't know who any of the bad teams are. I have an idea, but I'm really not sure about any of it.
I'm not sure either. And to your point, Darren, like last week, and I forgot one of the national types, like, hey, the Yankees are back. We're the most dominant teams in baseball. Now the headline today, man, the Yankees and the Mets are both a complete train wreck disaster. What's going on with these New York teams? So yeah, you're right. What I had 2 different questions I was going to ask you to start the show. What are you certain about? What's the one certainty you have on the Padres?
Mason Miller.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right. I mean, you asked me for one. I gave you
one. That's it. Okay. Fine. That's too easy. Give me 2. Okay. How about this? One certainty you have on the offense.
Ramon Laureano.
Yes. And that to me is key. Now, we spent so much time talking last week. I had played a clip from Craig Stammen saying, he didn't know who the leadoff hitter was. Ricky Henderson's not walking through that door, which if he did would be quite the story. But I think now that question, at least for the Padres leadoff hitter, has stopped. That's Ramon Laureano, except with his power, you could now argue moving him down in the lineup to bring some more slug and RBI, home run power.
Or, if 7, 8, 9 continue to get on base impressively as they has been, that was the whole argument about Tatis. I mean, are the same people who were screaming that Tatis should be taken out of the leadoff spot?
Yeah.
Are they now screaming about Laureano? I don't know. I don't see any reason why you would. I don't think he's perfect for the leadoff spot just in terms of on base, but and this isn't just because of results, because he has 4 homers. I do remember saying if you're going to get a team that's going to be better at slugging, then you are absolutely going to have a full season of Ramon Laureano and a healthy Jackson Merrill.
Yep.
And those things so far are 2 for 2. So, Merrill's got 3 jacks, 3, and Laureano's got 4. So, those are the things that I feel really good about. The rest of it, I still think is I'm not as convinced that Bogarts is all the way back. Manny's getting on base. It's great. So I don't know. I think though, if you're asking me just for a couple of things that I truly believe in, that I do believe are real from what we've seen, those are the handful of ones that I would point to. What about you?
Same thing, but did they answer any more of your questions about offensive identity? Because we talked about that last week. Like, we don't know what the offense is until we know who Tatis is. We do not know what the identity is. I still don't know. And I still don't know exactly what he is. You saw that open where he said the baseball guards, I think the baseball guards are very, very mad at me. That's why he's not, I don't know. I'm waiting to see what kind of player he is. It's such a stark contrast to last year. Last year, Darren, we were talking MVP season for Fernando Tatis
in April. Right. That's what I'm saying, right? The old Flannery line is April Fools. So, April sometimes doesn't tell you. April, we've seen rookies of the month come out of April that you never heard from. They were back in the minor leagues by the middle of the season. So.
Okay, I'll tell you my other certainty is that Luis Campusano is going to stick. and that he's going to see a lot more playing time than we first thought. And actually, let me go ahead and just temper that a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen with Nick Pivetta. I'm sure we're going to find out tomorrow. Maybe the Padres will take a day. Craig Stammen wouldn't say whether or not he was going to get an MRI. But one thing that Pivetta made clear in spring training was that Luis Campusano, or that was Freddie Fermin, was going to be his personal catcher. And so maybe when you have him, if you have him on the rotation, you might see some more time for Campusano, who has become, by the way, Michael King's personal catcher. He's been very good. I think one thing that Keith Law said when I had him on Friar Territory a couple of weeks ago, that he's a guy that needs to play every single day, and that his offense might feed off his catching. Like he needs to be catching for him to be an effective hitter, if that makes any sense.
Has he caught Mason Miller yet, or does he get subbed out late in some?
I think he did. I think he actually caught Mason Miller's last outing. I need to double check that. Am I still frozen? If I'm frozen, I can go ahead and check it while you're.
You are still frozen.
Damn it!
You kind of come in and out of clarity. For me, and maybe other people are seeing this differently. I'm not sure.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Okay. I want to remove a cord. I'm going to go ahead. Darren, I will say this right now. You were right, and I was wrong. I should have recorded this stupid thing. I wanted to go live today. It's fun to go live. I like engaging with the great listeners. But if I'm frozen, then damn it. I don't know. I'm sorry about this. All right. I'm really sorry. How about I play? This is what I did yesterday. One of my personal highlights. A lot of times we'll approach Tatis. And he sees the media coming. Listen, I'm just sitting here, no shirt on. I'm going to go take a shower, get out of here, get some food. He saw us. And Castellanos, who's his locker mate, says, "Oh, you want to talk to me?" I said, "No. Can you interview Tatis for us?" And he did. So I'll say right now, which I'm going to show you guys right now, if Nick Castellanos becomes the next big thing, if he becomes a media superstar, I'm taking full credit. That moment happened yesterday at Petco Park. Okay, here is Tatis Castellanos while I unplug a cord, and maybe I won't be frozen when I come back. Nick Castellanos.
First off, stand up.
I'm just going to do it because you have way more years than me in the show.
That's right, repeta. Coming off first week of the season, as the season is progressing.
Feel great.
Una palabra nada más? Nice, that's how I would do it. How do you feel that the offense and the pitching staff are, working together and blending and picking each other up? You see how, the staff gives up some runs, the offense answers back. The offense doesn't. The pitching staff throws up some zeros. How do you feel like you guys are working together so far? 15 games or 16 games, however we've played during the season.
Yeah, we're working together very good.
I like it. I agree. Yeah, do you have anything else?
No.
This is an A+ interview. Great job.
Thank you.
All right.
What is Castellanos brought to the table?
Do you have some advice for him?
Me?
Yeah,
He's the one with the platinum glove. You should give me advice, dude. What do you got? You got any advice for me?
No, just run.
Run and catch it?
Just run.
Yeah, I do that the best I can. You do it great, though.
Thank you, because I'm dark.
Not that much darker than me, maybe a little bit, but I'm not as white as Crony.
we may want to cut that one.
I don't think that's anything wrong. All right, hey, enjoy your off day.
You too.
Thank you, man.
What was the number one thing?
Yeah. By the way, you know what Nick Castellanos and I have in common?
What's that, Darren?
Neither one of us are as white as Crony. Very funny. I thought it was very funny, and this is on the back of a 5-game winning streak and a 4-game sweep of the Colorado Rockies. This is what you got. This is the kind of fun in the clubhouse that you get, and that's what people like. I did like in Espanol when Castellanos does say, "You're giving me one-word answers." Like that's how I would do it. He's like "una palabra," like I'm going to give you the one-word answers. If you've ever seen anything with Nick Castellanos from his time in Philadelphia, he was very short with media, which I
Yes.
thought would be great because between him and Manny, I just wanted them to grind people like Marty and AC in the dust in the clubhouse. Whatever you unplugged, by the way, it didn't work, so you're still frozen. But,
Damn it!
yeah, again, like it's fun, but I saw a bunch of people jumping in like, oh, and everybody said that Castellanos is a clubhouse cancer. Like, I don't think anybody accused Castellanos of not being great when things were good. I think that part of it was what was happening when things were going south in Philadelphia. But whatever, that's Philadelphia. That's not here.
Right.
So it's good. It's a situation where he's engaged and funny and humorous and interactive, and maybe a little bit of the tension that you get when you're in a media market like Philadelphia is different than it is here in Southern California. So yeah, I think everybody enjoyed watching that. I don't know why anybody wouldn't.
It was, excuse me. I'm having an all-time disastrous broadcast. I'm so sorry. I'm choking now on a Triscuit. It was fun, and I actually enjoy. I've probably gotten more reaction from Philly fans, I think, on the social, Darren, on Threads than I am from a lot of Padres fans too, but like Philly fans missing him. And man, it's maybe the problem wasn't Castellanos. Maybe it was the Phillies clubhouse. I mean, shit, maybe you just need to change the scenery and different media. I don't know, different media market, different pressure.
Sometimes things just run their course in certain places, and everybody just kind of gets sick of each other, and maybe that was a two-way street. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. Thought it was very funny. And again, it also helps that you do that sort of stuff after a 5-game winning streak, because you do it on a 5-game losing streak. I think everybody's like, oh, these guys aren't taking it seriously enough.
Right. Right.
So timing is everything. And Nick Castellanos is really good timing. I've enjoyed everything I've heard from him. I did an interview, I think, with Ben and Woods. I enjoyed that very much. By the way, speaking of Ben and Woods, I went on their show last week on Friday, and they brought up that whole Padres identity thing that you just presented to me again.
Okay.
And I didn't really have a good answer for them. I don't. Is that a baseball thing? Like, what is the identity of your offense? Like, is that something that applies? I'm sure we'll spend a minute or two talking about SDFC. I can tell you what their identity is in great detail.
Okay.
It's getting red cards. No, I'm kidding. It is about them wanting to possess the ball and have build up and play it out of the back, and they want to be high scoring and all that sort of stuff, right? I can tell you what Minnesota United's is. I can tell you on some of these teams what it is. Is that a baseball thing, though? Like, because they asked me that. They said, hey, we saw that clip with you and Marty, and like, the whole identity of a baseball team. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, I don't know. Is that a cliche thing? Like, is there any actual answer to it? And I don't know that there is.
Yes, because Darren, you and I used to say that the Padres' identity was always Manny Machado. The team was going to go as Manny went. And I think that's kind of changed a little bit, because I don't think that this offense is it's a longer lineup. You have better talent. It's a deeper roster. I don't think it's wrapped up about the success of one guy. You could have Manny Machado go like in a month-long slump, and I actually think the team would still be okay because you have other pieces. So I do think there is something to identity. I know we've spent a lot of time thinking that it should be Tatis because he is the most talented player on this team. The team is winning despite him being who we think he is. So yeah, I think there is something to identity. And by the way, and Stanman, I know Stanman's been asked that.
But that's a person, though. Like you're saying, it's a person. Like what is the Dodgers' identity?
Shohei Ohtani.
So it's one person?
Yes. No, it's not, because honestly, it doesn't matter if he can take a day off. You have guys. Mookie Betts is on the IL, and it doesn't stop their offense. So they don't. It's not about one guy because they're so deep.
See, I thought it was maybe like an approach. Like, are you in like a high average team? Are you like a speed team? Do you steal a bunch of bases? Right. Do you have a bunch of power? Like, what do you do? Mm-hmm. And that's the way I was interpreting the question. So maybe I interpreted it wrong. But again, like maybe it's easier to say, well, we know, like, in the NFL, we know what like Andy Reid does, right? And in soccer, I just gave you the examples. And in basketball, some teams play great defense. Mm-hmm. Like Oklahoma City has a much different identity than, let's say, like San Antonio. So for those that follow the NBA, college basketball, same thing. San Diego State has an identity throughout the years. Other teams like Alabama, they just want to go and take 1 billion 3-point shots. So, but I do wonder, like in baseball, is that a phrase or a term that we that really does apply in the way it does in other sports, if that makes sense?
I don't know, but I don't know. That's a great question. I'll have to post to Stammen. Am I still frozen? I'm still self-conscious now.
Yeah. Yeah, you are. I mean, it kind of comes and goes. So
I'm sorry. Sorry, guys.
Yep. It's okay. It'll sound way better on the podcast.
Yeah.
On the
sure.
Section 1904
On the
podcast.
Section 1904 podcast.
Yeah.
All right. That's good.
So we'll get that squared away. But like I said, this is your comeuppance since you wouldn't let me brush my teeth for the show.
Okay. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, Darren. Do you think Craig Stammen is growing on people? Do you actually admire him more for all the different things he's trying to do, whether it's lineup construction, whether it's what he tried to do with the leadoff hitter, whether it's his idea for Tatis at second base? Does that work in his favor of being more receptive to new ideas rather than rigid like Mike Schultz and refusing to take suggestions from the baseball ops department?
I think it works today because they've won 5 straight.
Okay. So check back with you after the Vetter Cup.
I'm not really in baseball. I'm just not into the sweeping conclusions, based on a good weekend or a bad weekend.
Yeah.
I just think in this sport, it's just not the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not convinced. I think that, from what we've said about Craig Stammen, it's pretty much the same. I think that there's a consistency to him. I think he's obviously had a couple of, questionable decisions. I think everybody would agree on that with some of the bullpen decisions that he's made, but what manager doesn't, especially a first-year manager?
Right,
so,
right.
I also am one who thought it was premature for people like you and others to immediately start saying that, German Marquez and Walker Buehler should be, tossed out on their elbows. Like,
wait, I didn't say that. I did not say that on
you
both
were
of them.
pretty like Griffin Canning and Matt Waldron can't come back soon enough. I'm like, well, why don't we give these guys a couple of weeks to figure some things out? Like, why don't we see if they can figure some things out a couple times through?
I'm not gonna. You can't judge anybody on the first start or the second start, and you're seeing some very good things from.
Seems like a lot of people were.
From Walker.
I mean, I certainly heard like plenty of this. This could be it. Like this could be his last start, like second time through.
I think it's more that it's hard for me to think that the Padres. Okay, my point was they have to be looking for more pitching, and by the way, which is magnified with Nick Pivetta, because the idea that you are thinking a postseason team, a deep playoff run. And those are the guys that you're counting on. I think it's fair to think that if you're the Padres, you're hoping that one of them sticks. I don't think there's any expectation that both Buehler and Marquez are going to be the answers to the Padres rotation long-term, like in September. But right now you need them. And you saw a much better outing, best outing from Buehler in quite some time. Marquez had a rough outing on Saturday, even though the Padres won that game. The offense was good enough to overcome him. But earlier, they weren't. They just weren't.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. But yeah, again, it's like just deciding week to week that a guy either is or isn't going to be part of your team. Like, and it's the same thing for Stammen. Did we decide in week 1 because he left Kyle Hart out there too long that he was wasn't a good manager? Or, is that something where you're like, yeah, okay. Like maybe that's something for him to, to think about or to improve on. So I don't know. Like, I just think people just, especially in the sport, like jump into these conclusions so early on in April. I guess it's like, I understand it's part of the fun of talking about it every day, but like you also got to take a breath every once in a while in the sport. Like things change real quick. Like, and things sometimes take a little bit of, takes a little while to see through some of this stuff. I mean, I'm not telling you that I think Walker Buehler is going to be great. I have no idea, but I'm at least open-minded to the fact that he could be a contributor to this team for some period of time. And if he's not, then he's, then you move on from him and, good luck. You bring in JP Sears or whatever, I mean, like that's your alternative. It's not great. So, take a chance on a guy that's had a lot of success and has to go through some things, like a whole new process of trying to figure out how to pitch in this game.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be, I was thinking of that because one thing Walker Buehler says that he knows he's not going to be that same pitcher, but he's learning to adjust. And that's something that Trevor said to us. When he joined us on Friar Territory, that he has to learn to become a completely different pitcher. And
I mean, I think that's real. Like, I think that's some real stuff there. So I don't, I don't know. Like I said, it's what is their record? 10-6 or something like that.
You mentioned we're best record. I know.
16 games in, man. I mean, God. It's just
Hey,
such a long season.
It's
so
a
fucking
long. I know. Mariners. Then they go on the road. Anaheim. I might make it. might make it out to Anaheim for a game or two, and then they go where? Colorado, Arizona, Mexico City. So I'm bummed. I'm not going on that trip. So you said a bunch of the players said they wanted to see the uniforms, all the city connects together. Now that you've seen the Padres play in them, what do you think? They grow on you? Do anything for you?
I think I said last week that sometimes, again, like jumping to a conclusion because you see something on your phone, is usually a bad idea. I will say I kind of liked them better on my phone than I did when I was watching the game because it showed a lot of the detail and you could see it up close. So, I mean, I think I'm in the same boat as I was last week. I think they're fine. I neither love them nor loathe them. I'm sorry to be somewhat on the fence about that. I do not have a strong opinion about the Padres City Connects. I still, just mostly chuckle to myself about the whole Dia de los Muertos thing that it's April, and that is a day on the calendar in November. But hey, I can't just keep saying the same thing forever and ever. So I think they're okay. Probably not something that I'm going to go run to the Padres store and purchase myself, but I'm glad that people enjoy them. I don't know how you felt. I guess Gavin Sheets probably liked it since he hit 2 jacks on Friday night, including a walk-off.
I think so.
Yeah. So I would think that's probably okay. I don't know. I mean, you're more, I think you were more aligned with the colors yourself.
I think I missed the City Connect. I missed the previous ones. Like one thing that you could see like on a Friday night, you would look out and the 40,000 people and you would see a ton of people wearing the mint and the pink. And now when I look out in the crowd, it doesn't pop. But maybe again, that will take some time. So maybe for the next one, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to having Eric Gomez on when the Padres do get to Mexico City because I would love to see how the merchandise is going over there. I mean, you see a ton of people wearing it at Petco Park, and we saw the sales. They did record sales for the new colors, so they're popular. People are buying them up, and I'm curious to see how it'll be when they get to Mexico City. All right, Darren, I want to move on to a couple other things in the best interest of time. SDFC played Minnesota on Saturday. Lost that game. I read this in the UT. 6 red cards in 6 matches. 6 red cards, 6 matches. The latest was Christopher McVay. What is happening with those red cards? How does this happen?
Well, they can't get out of the cycle. I mean, the thing about the red cards is, they all tell their own different story. The story is that like the red cards are feeding each other. So, you deal with a red card and a suspension. So for those that don't know, a player picks up a red card, that means he's ejected from the game. Either 2 yellow cards or a straight red card. And we've had both this year.
So you play short.
And so you have to play without that player. It's not like the NBA where a player gets 2 technicals, off he goes, and you can bring another player in off the bench. So you have to play a player down. This is, the only sport where you have to deal with that. And when we're getting these red cards is compounding the problem because we're getting them in the first half of the games. So we have to play 70 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it is, a long time, a player down. That's exhausting for everybody else on the field that's got to do extra work now. So, it makes sense, right? If you're playing a man down, you have to work harder. Everybody has to work harder. So it's a problem. Then the second part of the problem is the player is suspended for the next game. So now you have to put somebody in there. These are key players these aren't bench players that are picking up red cards. They're starters. They're like preferred starting 11 type players. Manu Dua, Chris McVay, playing a game without Marcus Ingvartson, Hurts, Anibal Godoy missed a CONCACAF Champions Cup match. So these are key players. These are presumed starting 11 type players. So now you have to put somebody in who's not as good. And then that player ends up getting targeted by the other team because these other teams are like, well, that guy, he's not a starter. Let's go after him. And then other players have to pick up the slack. So then it's just cascading into one another. There's this knock-on effect of having to, say we can't put the same 4 defenders out there week after week after week. And it's in flux every week. And then one player has to cover for the other player because, this player isn't experienced enough and he picks up a yellow to cover in that guy's space. So it's just, now we'll have to play again without Chris McVay this weekend at Real Salt Lake. So like it's just a cycle. Like it's a spiral that like the club cannot get out of. And I agree with Mikey. I do think that some of the calls have been a little harsh. I didn't think that was the case with McVay this past weekend. I did think that was the case with Manu Dua against San Jose. I did not think that was a straight red myself, but I thought McVay put himself in a terrible position. But did he put himself in that position because Manu Dua is suspended for the game and he's playing with a 20-year-old named Oswald Sui? Maybe. It seemed like there was miscommunication on the first yellow that McVay had to foul one of the Minnesota players. And then he picks up, and there's no excuse. The second yellow, you could say it was harsh or, not really a foul or what have you. Not a moment where a referee should change a game, but he put himself in that situation and the referee made the decision. So I said last week, I didn't think it was much of a crisis. I would change my tune a little bit this week. Just because again, like you have to play without Chris McVay again. And you have to put somebody out there who I'm not sure. I think they like this player, this 20-year-old Danish player who's new to the team named Oswald. It's spelled by Oswald Sua. But I think you'd rather have your starting center backs. But man, it's just like, we can't get out from under it because we have a player suspended every week, and it's a problem. It's now like officially like a real problem. I mean, listen, you don't have to take it from me. The captain of the team called it catastrophic in his post-game press conference.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what we like about Jeppe Deverskov. He's pretty blunt, and he said this is catastrophic. Like I do think that this is still a good team. I do not think that this is a team that's completely fallen off a cliff from last year. I believe everything that the head coach had to say afterwards about we will fix this. And I was glad to see him say that sort of stuff. And I believe in this, and we will be the team that we believe that we're going to be and have believed all along. But I also think you can see it's taking a toll because these guys, Marty, are just being asked to do things physically. That is really hard. I mean, to have to cover that much ground for a player like Jeppe Deverskov, to have to go back and play defense and then be in the midfield and run back and forth, like it is physically and mentally taxing what it is that's happening to these players who aren't being sent off. And so it's taking a toll, and it's having this cascading knock-on effect. So unfortunately, it's become a bit of the story for SDFC, and it's a problem that has to get right. But again, now you're like, oh, we're going to go up to Salt Lake City, and you got to be without one of your preferred starting 11 players. So, I do think Mikey's sort of gallows humor about, well, the good news is at least we know how to play a man down. It's kind of funny when you think about it.
We're getting used to it. We have experience at doing
a lot of practice here.
By the way, have they identified the culprit on Jeppe's black eye?
I've been told in confidence, but
okay, I got it.
Did happen on the training ground, but they didn't want to name any names, didn't want to point any fingers. But if that player had, let's just say if Bryce Duke had been suspended, if he had been released last week.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
So, Darren, I know you're busy this weekend. I was pretty much busy at Padres for most 3 of the 4 games with Colorado, and you had SDFC prep, and you had the game at Snagin.
Wow.
On Saturday. How much of the Masters did you watch? So, am I frozen again?
You were.
How much
I'm going to cut
Masters
this
did you watch?
short because I think you need to go you need to reboot your internet.
I don't know what happened today. I mean, I'm so sorry. Just real quick, because my favorite thing from the post game from Craig Stammen. So Craig Stammen walks in right after this 4-game sweep, and the PR guy says, "All right, guys, just real heads up, nobody spoil anything in the Masters because Stammen taped it. He wants to go home and watch it." So props to Craig Stammen for somehow being able to have no idea what was happening during the Masters. How much did you pay attention to what happened with Rory?
Was watching early. Rory started the day. He was on top of the leaderboard. I think it was 3rd or 4th hole. He double bogeyed. So he went down 2 and then he went down 3. I went for a bike ride. And when I came home, he was back there on the leaderboard and watched the last couple of holes and watched him win the Masters, which I was very happy about. I'm a Rory McIlroy fan. There's a lot of online hate for Rory. A lot of that has to do with live golf, because Rory has really stood up for the PGA Tour. So he's one of the most polarizing people. There are a lot of people think he's just a phony and a fraud. There is an author named Alan Shipnuck who has a book out. Talk about great timing. Has a book out, and it just came out. It just came out. I think maybe today is the official day, but it's all about Rory. And
wait,
it's a great story.
He knew? How did Alan know?
Well, he had it because he won the Masters last year to complete the Grand Slam.
Incredible.
So he had the perfect timing of having this book out before the Masters this year. The completion where Rory becomes, I mean, it's such an exclusive club to win the career Grand Slam. And now he's gone back to back. So it's perfect timing for Alan Shipnuck. So we're going to talk to him tomorrow about this book and a lot about Rory. It's an unauthorized biography of Rory McIlroy. And Rory didn't like that Alan was writing this book. As a matter of fact, there's a famous story from the Open last year, the U.S. Open last year, where Rory told him to F off, like in front of a full gallery full of people, like made a point of saying on the practice range, hey, Alan, go F yourself. So, I don't know how Rory feels about the book today, but Rory was not happy that Alan Shipnuck was writing this book. So, we're going to chat with him tomorrow about Rory and talk a little bit about going back to back at the Masters and, just his place, like where he is now. Like he is, I think, the face of golf at this point. I don't think there's really any doubt about that.
I hope that's the forward for the book is the exchange between Rory and Alan Shipnuck last year, because that would be awesome. That has to be how that should be Oh, good. By the way, so guys, I promise, thanks to all of you for your patience. I'm not sure. I'm having a day today, and I'm surprised this is happening because I'm using a different computer, but I will reboot everything. My Wi-Fi has been tested to tomorrow's show, and we're going to go early in the morning. We will have AJ Caswell, the Padres, be reported tomorrow morning, and then we'll talk to Alan Shipnuck tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to a great show. Hopefully I won't be frozen. I hope I'm not frozen tomorrow. This is discouraging, but thanks for your patience. I'm sure it'll sound much better on the Section 1904 podcast.
Yeah. Well, we have ways of making the audio sound great over there. So,
okay. By the way, if you want to go ahead and make sure you subscribe to D. Smith Show in Section 1904, there is the QR code. How do I get rid of that duck? The StreamYard duck, but that's the QR code. Also, Friar Territory. We would love if you would like and subscribe to us on Friar Territory as well. Plenty of Padres comment. Had a lot from this weekend on the last Friar Territory episode, including some thoughts from Nick Pivetta, a discouraged Nick Pivetta on his elbow soreness, stiffness. I'm sorry. I had to get the word right. You don't usually hear elbow stiffness as the official.
No, it's kind of a weird word, stiffness.
I think, well, if you're the team, you always want to avoid the word tightness, because the second you hear tightness, shoulder, arm, elbow, anything, you're like, oh, you're trained to think the worst case scenario. But anyways, we'll get more in that tomorrow with AJ Caswell. So
yeah, and you think stiffness is a better word?
Yes, than tightness.
Okay,
never mind. I'm not going there.
I don't. Hopefully, I mean, fingers crossed here. I don't. Who knows what even to expect. I mean, do they even send this person for an MRI? Would he even want to go for an MRI, or does he do that on his own? Like,
why would you not? Don't you want to know?
Actually, sometimes players, Marty, don't want to know.
But if you have a history of this stuff, if you have history, I'd want to know. I want to get ahead of it, especially with the idea that you can opt out after the season. Don't you want to get ahead of it? Or I don't know.
Well, I don't know what the rules are if you go and have an MRI, if you have to share that information with the team. I think you can probably go out on your own just for your own personal well-being, but you don't have to agree to go and do what the team wants you to do, because then you worry, like, is the team going to hold it against me and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm now getting text messages from listeners about your shit Wi-Fi.
I don't know what's happening. I'm
I'm out of here. I can't be a part of something like this any longer.
I'm Marty Caswell. That's Darren Smith. We're brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. At least the parts of us that are not frozen. The frozen part, that's on me. That has nothing to do with the Jamul. I'm so upset. All right, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Better Wi-Fi. Thanks for watching Marty Time TV and the Section 1904 podcast. I'm going outside. Goodbye.
Are you excited to get out there in the new Day of the Dead City Connects for the Padres tonight?
Yeah, I think they're really nice.
Is there a specific detail of them that you do? Like, we have to ask for the broadcast. So
yeah, that's fine. I don't know. I think this chick's kind of cool. Yeah, the candles and everything. I think it's nice.